Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to the Spiritual Sanctuary Wisdom for the Divine Feminine. I'm your host, Bertina, and today we have a special guest. We have Miss Leslie Martin here from Music City Healing. Welcome, Leslie.
Well, I thank you for having me, Miss Bertina. I am honored to be your guest.
Thank you. I know what you do. I've got to experience it last week, but I would love for you to tell the audience what is it that you do, what kind of services do you offer, and just a little bit about yourself.
Well, my services, I do a lot of work within the subconscious mind. I could get technical, but basically it's past life regression,
Okay.
uh, life between the lives. I am working towards that. Clinical hypnosis, rapid response techniques to help turn around a lot of the anxiety and overwhelm that people are feeling right now in the time that we're living in this world. I do
Yeah.
basically regression work and reading work, Akashic record readings.
Okay.
Um, Also, am trained in quantum healing energy.
Wow.
And I also do a kind of a fun technique. It's called Portal to the Pleiadians. It is a guided journey to a Pleiadian spaceship that's in Australia, over the country of Australia. That you get into their med beds basically. Now I've done that for about a year, and then it sort of fell off. I haven't done it as much, but it's really neat. I've done it myself, and it was very, very amazing. So then I trained with the couple in Australia, how to learn how to do this. And
Okay. I know exactly where we need to start now. I am dying to
okay,
know about the guided journey to Pleiadian spaceship. You said it is over Australia. Can anyone see it or is it kind of hidden?
well, it's interdimensional, and so
Okay, perfect.
the portal to the Pleiadian program that I took, and they're on the Gaia channel, the couple I'm talking about right now. Their name escapes me
Oh,
because it's been a few years since I've trained with them. But
yeah.
I typically train with a lot of people that are on Gaia just because that's my jam. I'm all things galactic. And so that's something that people need to know about me. I'm very comfortable moving to a galactic conversation, a perspective, whether it's the wars that happened in Orion, and the Pleiadians, the Syrians, etc. But anyway, back to the training. So the ship is interdimensional. It's above the country of Australia, and this couple has been, prompted to create this program after doing several guided ayahuasca and healing journeys themselves, trying to heal their basically heal. And so
Yeah.
yeah, I loved it because I love all things med beds. I've been hearing about the med beds in several circles of the spiritual community, and so when I saw a chance to get one, I took a session from them before I started training with them, and
Yeah.
it was, I mean, it was intensely deep.
Wow.
And I had a wound from when my grandmother had passed away that came up, which I would have thought that's healed. It was just very surprisingly how healing it was. And it was something I thought that was, pretty much dealt with. I was very, very
Yeah.
close to my nanny. So that's how, and so it was, I cried and cried, and I'm not a crier. And I was like, oh, I need to learn how to do this. And so I still can do it. It's just not something that I put out as much. It just because
Right.
so many people really, it's about as woo woo as it gets. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, what is a med bed? You mentioned that. Can you explain more
Yeah.
about that?
So a med bed is the technology is a plasma bed. And I'll tell you what I know. There's a lot I don't know, but what I do know is that it's a plasma-based technology bed that's full, that the frequencies that are emitted from this bed um, heals the human body, energetically speaking. For me, just to give example, it found that I had still had an armored shield over my chest. And when that was removed, um, the wound from my grandmother dying was still very much alive. I had just covered it up.
Okay.
Um, and so you think you're walking around, oh, I'm just fine, but really you're pre-shut down and you don't even realize it. And so that
Yeah.
reopening of the heart center and then subsequently feeling what was there was what healed me. Um, and there are people that again, I do watch a lot of shows on Gaia. So medbed is not a new topic for me. There are people that are in what they call space forces that
Okay.
protect our planet, and sometimes they get an arm blown off, and so they get into the med bed and regrow a new one.
Oh,
It's
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
That's so
I
cool.
wasn't in that type of situation, but there's a lot to it. I used it and I've taken lots of people that volunteered to help do it. And then I've taken paid clients into the med bed, and everybody's different, and whatever you need is what starts to show
Okay.
up. And there's a main Pleiadian named Eskel, who is kind of the main healer there.
Yeah.
um, and there's several beds in a row across the spaceship, and yeah, I didn't know we were going to talk about this as much, but it's a really cool topic. It's really fun to do. I had one lady who had um, a what is the thing that you get from a tick? Lyme's disease.
Yeah, Lyme disease. Yeah.
And when I took her to the med bed, the first thing that me and Askell saw was this big, huge cloud, black, gray cloud around her head,
Wow.
which was being removed. And when I told her that was the first thing we saw, she was like, "That's what I tell every doctor. I just feel like there's this big black cloud, gray cloud around my head. I can't even think straight." So that's just an
Wow.
example of how it works. But yeah, it's really a neat. It's another tool, healing tool. Depends on the person. Some people just want
Yeah.
straight up hypnosis. Some people want to go galactic. Some people want to go spaceship. But I just love helping people get get at the things. And we're an energetic being, so I'm really prone to doing more energy work than a typical, let's just say
Hmm.
if you went to the doctor and got a shot, I don't do
Yeah.
that. I do this.
Yeah. That's awesome. We're going to have you on to talk more about the galactic stuff because you just caught me on that. And I was just like, let's focus. But I wanted you to talk
Yeah.
about a lot of what you do. So one
Yeah.
of them is past life regression.
Mhm.
A lot of people will go, "Ooh, I want a past life regression. Who was I in a past life?" So, are people usually happy? Can you tell us kind of what a past life regression is like, why someone would get it, and then what is a benefit of like knowing who you were in a past life, or maybe if I'm
Yeah.
getting that wrong.
You're not getting anything wrong. You're absolutely on point. So past life regression, who would get it? Many times when you have a reoccurring pattern in your life, a
Okay.
behavior pattern, whether it's how your patterns in your family life, usually it's patterns in the type of people you attract, like in your love life, reoccurring illness. It's like if you get one thing healed and here comes another. Reoccurring patterns and dreams are like the number one, like, hey, this is something you need to look at. More
Okay.
often than not, it is originated in another timeline. Many times you've come back several different timelines to get this particular thing sorted, healed, learned from it. Once it's learned, then that is discharged. But that's why a lot of people come, because they can't figure out why they keep attracting the wrong person, whether it's male or female, or an illness. Where did this come from? No one else in my family has it, but yet.
Yeah.
So lots of really amazing answers, especially with relationship dynamics. That's the one that most people come to me with,
Yeah.
and how I ended up getting into it was just that same reason. But it's not always a bad thing, and it's not always a good thing. What you generally see is the timeline or timelines that are directly impacting this particular topic or repeating pattern. So, for example, if you're constantly attracting guys that waste your time, or you're attracting, I don't know, a narcissist, for example, it's really good to go back and see, where did this pattern get started? What's it trying to teach me? I'm big about
Hmm.
learning the lesson so that you can drop the, not everybody, but many times people feel like they're being victimized by either relationships or jobs, or but they kind of have that victim, like it's being done to me. And
Yeah.
this type of work will really shift that into seeing what was chosen and empower you so you understand the bigger picture. Because right now, many times we're really kind of walking through life looking through it like within like a little peephole. And then when you do a regression, it pulls it all the way
Opens it
open.
up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Great.
Um, I will say that the person that, and I think you and I've talked about this, but I like to tell people up front, if you have been diagnosed with any sort of like bipolar or any sort of thing like that, this may not be the easiest way to get to the information. We can use other tools to get to the soul level information.
Okay.
Um, but at the end of a past life regression, this wasn't in my training. I learned to do this with all the other energy work I do. Is we will go in and do the healing then. So my
Oh,
sessions are 2 hours, because at the end of the learning and the seeing and the revisiting, then we'll move the energy.
awesome.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Like, do you use your energy healing or do you use hypnosis or how do you
I
move the energy? What's your technique?
take we with the technique we do together, it's basically I get the consent that they're ready to release this said energy, and then we do cord cutting a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we'll cut the cords, we'll release with compassion, and then we'll bring in, I like to also bring in energetic gifts. A lot of times the angels are called in, the guides, or um the other version of yourself will still be active, and I'll bring that other version in. It
Oh,
depends on the person and the situation. So you're healing timelines, you're healing the past, present, and future in this work, because once
oh,
that's
wow.
dissolved, it's dissolved across all the timelines because they're all parallel anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done some healing where you use mirrors to heal ancestral lineages like 7 generations back, 7 forward. And it's just healing in general, no matter how you do it, is just really empowering and
Yeah.
really free for people. And I suggest for people to try different ways of being healed, healing themselves. I like to even though we're a facilitator, but their body and their mind is helping, heal themselves. So, like you said, you did a training and you added your other knowledge into that. And I like that. I try to encourage my students to take what I teach them and to incorporate it in everything else. So, I like that.
Love
Now,
that. Yeah.
I know it's just everyone needs the uniqueness. Everyone needs their own way of doing things, and that pulls their own clients to them that work with them instead of we're not cookie cutter. We're not at all.
No,
Um,
no. Yeah,
yeah.
100%.
Wait, I have a question. I'm curious about one particular thing that you have listed here besides the Pleiadian starship, and we would definitely do a lot more on that later. The clinical, I love galactic stuff. I love it. Clinical hypnosis. Where,
Mm.
like, was this something that you did in a clinical setting? Is this something you do at Cosmic? Is this something you do out of your home? And what does it entail? Because I've always heard different things about hypnosis, but I haven't really had anyone to talk to about it and would love to get
Yeah.
your perspective on what it is and how it
Well,
works.
so the training that I took was online, because how I got into this was trying to heal myself, like most people are. And
Yeah.
so once I got the training, from Dr. Brian Weiss about the past life regression, I was one of the few people there that wasn't an actual like psychiatrist or PhD psychologist. So I did that first and
Okay.
had an amazing healing. And then I realized I wanted to share this with everyone. So I went and through a friend found this program, and it was a clinical hypnotherapist program. And so the clinical, like I learned a lot about, besides just hypnosis, we went into like more clinical things, some pain related, even though the pain
Okay.
thing is kind of a touchy subject in today's world. You have to get a doctor to refer. So I don't do really chronic pain because it's
Yeah. Yeah.
very litigious department.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it is basically becoming a hypnotherapist and doing the weight support, weight loss,
Hmm.
non-smoker. So, but learning how and why you can get people to a certain depth to get to certain information. I needed to understand that. So I went and did that. And then I've been doing it for 10 years. But the clinical
Wow.
side is not that big of a deal. It's just more around the body,
Okay.
helping people
Well,
lower their blood pressure through hypnosis, things like that.
ooh, I didn't know that was a possibility.
Well,
If,
anything that works in your body, it's all energy.
yeah. Yeah, I'm just
It
thinking
starts
about my
there.
mom whose regular blood pressure's over 200 every day. It's 250. Yeah, we're in the hospital a lot with stuff, and we have tried every medication, even Tai Chi, which is so strange that she exercises every day. She does breath work. She is not woo woo at all. She does not believe in any of this, but this is exercise her doctor gave her. And it has helped
Or
some, but
whatever you
yeah,
got to call it, right?
I know just to get people to do it. I don't know if she'd be open to hypnosis, but I think it would probably be something that she should probably be open to because these doctor's appointments and emergency room visits at 200 and
Yes.
250 blood pressure, 250 over 100 something. I mean, it's just crazy.
That's
So
very, very, I mean, wow,
yeah,
that is, and that's high. I am so sorry to
dangerous.
hear that. Yes, it's very dangerous. And I would, we can talk offline, but there's, I'm doing a training, a rapid reduction
Yeah.
of anxiety and things of that nature and I'm just learning that. And it's really cool because it is hypnosis, but it's more NLP combined with some neural reprogramming of the eyes to the brain.
Oh,
Um, and it may be more to her taste if it was something y'all ever wanted to try.
okay. That
Something to
sounds
think about.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
definitely.
you know how when you have you ever done the neural plasticity reprogramming with the eye movements and stuff?
I
So that's the
haven't, but
clinical side of things that I
okay.
like, So yeah.
Awesome. No, that's really good. I've never really heard of a lot of that. Like because most of the time when you learn about it, it's so into a clinical field or medical field, and I love the fact that you can mix all this together and it's all to help everybody energetically and mentally and physically, it sounds like as well. I mean, because if you feel
For
well
sure.
mentally and energetically, physically, you're going to feel better because it's all together.
Yep.
Um, okay, well, let me ask you about one more thing and then we'll go into some other stuff. You do Akashic Records. Can you tell me about that and how that process works and why someone would have an Akashic Records reading? I know that that's what you do at Cosmic, and I know a couple of people have asked me, a couple of my clients have asked me what they can get from that. So, what?
Well, it is very similar to a past life regression as far as the information you can get. But instead of you being in the body and walking in that timeline and feeling the feels of that other you, I do the channeling. And so an Akashic record is just call it a book of a timeline that you've lived. And And so that's you're opening up the book, and I typically will get names. I don't go, one thing I don't try to do like history lessons, even though everybody wants to like identify, because
Yeah.
I'm just so about let's just feel it, understand where it came from, and then move it and change it, heal it, and
Oh,
release it, right? But you'll
yeah.
so it's so and I'm rambling a little bit, so let me back up. The Akashic Records is a book of a timeline that you've lived. And
Yeah.
you've lived many. And many times when you incarnate, you are still connected to a thread of one of these other lives or timelines that you've lived. And so you'll never be another Bertina. This beautiful tapestry that I'm talking to right now will never live again. However, the other timelines will probably, if you could call it future for a third dimensional vernacular, that you can pull something that Bertina didn't, the unfinished business of Bertina in this lifetime, more than likely get pulled into another timeline, another tapestry to keep that
Oh,
thread going until it's finished. And these are energy
okay.
things that we're working on. So, what you can learn are what was my unfinished business and why is it still impacting this timeline? You can understand dynamics of your parents because you typically travel in soul groups. So you'll see people that are now the parent and the child is the parent, that you switch roles.
Okay.
Um, and sometimes the dynamics are very small and personal, and sometimes they're larger dynamics around societal situations that are going on, like racism, for example, or wars, and um, so you can learn a lot about, like I there was one guy who was obsessed with, he was very quite suicidal
Oh no.
and scared to fly,
Okay.
and but he was a fighter pilot and another war, and definitely he when he got out of the plane, he ended up getting it landing in water and drowning. So
Mm,
all of that was really unfinished business, obviously, and so he was still trying to sort that out in this timeline. So those are kind of the information you can get.
okay.
You'll have reoccurring dreams, reoccurring patterns, issues with a specific mom, for example, issues with a specific child. So, and it just gives you the bigger picture that to have some compassion for the other people in your play
Okay.
and why you guys are playing well or not playing well.
I like that. No, you did a session with me on Friday, and I know
Uh-huh.
you're like me. We don't remember a lot of our sessions just because it's being channeled. But I found it, and if I may share my stuff, I found it very interesting that the first thing you came to was a warrior. And then as you were describing me, it was so cool because it was very much describing, or at that time, a goddess, like
Yeah,
that I study, Skadi, Skadi, which is a Norse goddess. And it
that's
really
right.
was kind of connected. Yeah. It was kind of interesting because like I can do a lot of divination. I cannot do runes. I have always had this like aversion to Viking stuff. I want to show you something here. I know all of y'all can't see it if this is on video, but this is one of my little Freya goddess
Uh-huh.
statues. Um, but I never got connected until I did a genealogical survey or one of those ancestry things and found out that my dad's side I always thought was German and Romanian, which it is, but the Germanic part was also the Viking part. And it just seems like ever since that kind of opened up, it's kind of everything keeps showing up in a Norse, Viking, Germanic type way. And I think it's kind of cool. And when I started thinking about some of the things that you told me, it's very much my warrior masculine that I lived in for almost 50 years, 40 some years, a
That's
long
true.
time. Yeah. And so, because I've always loved history, ancient history, warriors. I mean, Xena the Warrior Princess, of course, that was who I felt
Yeah.
like I was. Let's go. Um, but
Well, you
whenever
were in
you,
that past life too.
I know, and that's what's so cool is because after our session, I sat down, and it was just like, okay, that's pretty cool. Now I don't have to. I won't say fight with myself to wonder why, but it's like I could come to terms with why sometimes I was so angry, why sometimes I
Yeah.
reacted certain ways, and why it's a struggle to be in my feminine and then in my masculine, back and forth, back and forth. But I really
Yeah.
think it's really cool because Scotty, she is very much very feminine in some ways, but very strong in other ways. And that's how I
Yeah.
kind of try to see myself. So it made me feel good, like I was like accepting myself because I'm not the best at always accepting everything. Um, like that because I'm always like, oh, I wonder why. I wonder, and that was really cool. I really did enjoy your session. So
Oh,
I
good.
know
I'm
there
glad you
were more
did.
there were more things, but I feel like that first one was one that was very much helped me
Well, I
a
went
lot.
and looked her up after we had our session because I was so blown away with what you were telling me that I was telling you that I
Yeah.
was like, I have to look her up. And so I was seeing a younger version of her than I did see some of the older versions that
Yeah.
you had were telling me about. But what I love about you knowing this side of you and now looking at your current version, how you are so, you teach people how to be this divine, strong priestess. So you yourself, you were so, more on the masculine side, the warrior side. And even today, you're teaching you're leaning more on the warrior feminine side, which
Yeah.
makes sense to me what you're saying because you still struggle with the back and the forth.
Yeah.
But if you can put them together in harmony,
Yeah.
that's that beautiful balance I think you're looking for. Because not one's not right or wrong, but as a female, I can
Yeah.
understand because you do
Yeah.
have a lot of that. Now that I've been in your energy, you do have a lot of that. I can
Hmm.
see that for sure. But first meeting, you don't see that, you know.
No, I
You,
um I am told before being really spiritual and getting into this that I
yeah,
intimidate people, that I'm really scary, I'm bitchy, I'm this,
really.
I'm that. But that was because of my careers I had before. I was a criminologist. I worked with security, things like that, PI work. And that was a big switch. And it's funny because I've done past life regressions before, but most of them were like through my dreams a lot because I've kind of I do everything through dreams. I don't know how I process things. If I'm going to teach a class, I go to sleep and see myself doing it the next day and I create the class then. People are like, "Oh, what are you going to teach in this?" I don't know. It's whatever comes to my dreams the night before. This is college class or spiritual classes or anything else, but I have processed many of my past life and it's like every other one it's like warrior, priestess, but every single one of them I've died like defending someone or doing something like that, but I never could like combine them. So I think maybe in this life I really am combining them in some way. But who knows? Because
That's
it's a journey and it's fun, and who knows?
yeah, and you are my very first Viking princess warrior. So I know very, very little. I mean, when I was describing her, you could see I was like, well, now what am I looking at?
I
Because
know.
it's a movie,
Hmm.
and the exuberant hair quality of the females was shocking to me. So
Yeah.
anyway, it was that was probably one of my more fun. And I was just saying that I literally afterwards I went and I think it was late, so I was going to eat or do something, and afterwards I'm like I gotta look this person up. I had to go back and look at my notes to figure out how to say the name because I couldn't remember half of it.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you got something out of it. That was the whole
Oh,
purpose,
yeah.
obviously.
Well, and that really does help a lot of people. And that's where I wanted people to know what you do because, like, I feel like that it isn't just being a Viking priestess. It just kind of helped me connect where I felt disconnected a little. I mean, it isn't like, oh, I'm totally disconnected, but I was a little, and people want huge, huge, like knockdown reactions, but really, the little ones are the ones that build on top of each other to heal instead of being like just in your face, knocking you down. So I like the connections and then just a small pattern of me being able to process. And then we went on to other ones, but that one's the one that really just stood out to me a lot. So
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So
Good.
yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate it. So, well, I got some feedback. Sorry. Do you mind to share how you started your spiritual journey or
I
anything?
don't mind sharing at all. And that's what
Okay.
I tell people. So how I got started was when I was really in my 20s. I'm in my 20s anymore. This has been a very long lifetime journey for me since I was in my 20s. I was the one that was seeing all the repeating pattern numbers really early, really young,
Okay.
and an area that no one understood what I was talking about. I've come from a really small town in Cleveland, Tennessee, and I was seeing things like repeating numbers, especially the number 21, and it was just everywhere. Well, I'm a 21. That's my number. Well, my it's not my life number, but anyways, everything else.
Yeah.
But I was working at a bank, and I was still living at home, trying to go to school, working, all the fun stuff. And the lady that I worked for was very good friends with my dad. She kind of ran the bank, and it was a small town, and they all went to church together. And her daughter had gotten killed in a car wreck right after high school graduation. And so I'm going to work on Monday, and Dad says, by the way, don't say anything about, I can't remember the lady, about don't say congratulations, because her daughter had just been killed. And it was very tragic.
Mm.
This lady had had a baby late in life, and it was her only one. And nobody would have been
Yeah.
not horribly upset about this because it was just a dumb car accident. The boy
Mm.
acting silly after the graduation and driving fast and spinning around in circles, right?
Yeah.
Just showing out, and several of the young ladies died, but her daughter was in that. And it hit me, and I was just like, oh, my heart just sang for her because, obviously. Well, something happened after that that was not normal reaction. I started grieving, and I don't mean just a little bit grieving. I mean, seriously, could not stop crying. And I was trying to figure out why I was losing my mind because it was 24/7. I was having to hold back tears, and you
Oh.
know, at work, and you're waiting on people, and you're a teller, and you're supposed to be, and I'm just like, I am just blown away by this grief for this lady who I don't know. She's just my dad's
Mm.
friend, right? And I saw pictures of her daughter, but I didn't know her daughter either. So the level wasn't matching. And that's one thing I noticed immediately. It's sad, but it didn't happen to me. And
Yeah.
then that's when the memories started flooding in. When I lost a daughter, I lived
Oh.
in another timeline and it appears this was in Italy. And
Okay.
my daughter got killed in an accident, and she was a
Mm.
young 20 something year old daughter. I knew her
Oh.
name. Her name was Anna Maria. I can see her face. And she had a brother. And he was a very sweet child. Anna and I were really, really close. And so when I finally understood, oh, I'm grieving a child that I don't have, is when everything sort of blew open for me. And I didn't really get solid answers about the whole scenario until I went to train with Dr. Brian Weiss. And
Okay.
that's when someone was able to put me under to a level that I could bypass all the fear and the guarding that had been put, lots of blocks around. I mean, a lot of things really. It was definitely a timeline I needed to deal with in this
Mm.
lifetime. And so that's what happened in my training. And I got to see not only what happened, but my grief and how, just to be really transparent with the audience, I saw myself behaving in a way I would never behave today. And I created a shit ton of karma. Like
Oh,
so many things I did out of my anger and my grief,
yeah.
trying to, just hurting so bad. I was going around hurting people. And so that was very freeing. That was weird as this is going to sound, just seeing and understanding most of the players in that timeline were the ones that were in this timeline for me, my immediate family. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
So I was able to make peace with my dad. I was able to make peace with losing Anna. I was able to appreciate my current son because he was there too. And so in a lot of ways, it literally brought me back to life. And I
Mm.
realized I'm not a victim. I was never a victim. And my gosh, I've got to get this to people because they gatekeep this technique because there are a lot of people are scared about the harder things to go through. When you
Yeah.
go back to the fun stuff, that's super great. But they'll get into doing this and then they'll realize, okay, they're actually reliving the trauma and how do I handle that?
Yeah.
Well, you learn how to handle it, and you also learn how techniques to pull them up from it, and there's lots of different ways to go about it. But I was actually working with a therapist there at the training center, so it was very very professional, handled very well. Although I didn't have the reaction that perhaps someone else might have had, because it
Hmm.
it was just I was so happy to understand the insane dynamics I grew up in. And
Mm.
then to understand that I was the one that started the whole thing. And
Okay.
yeah. So
Yeah,
that's how I
that's
got into this
heavy.
work. Yeah, it
Okay.
was it was heavy, but it was also freeing as all get out. I mean, seriously. For
Okay.
me, I was a new person. Even my husband, when I got home, he said, "You are not the same person." I said, "No, there's no way to go back.
I
There's just
love
no way to
that.
go back." Yeah. So
So some of your services can help women feel safe again or deal with trauma and anxiety
yeah.
and take a deeper approach with you. Some people think that can happen in a session. How long does it usually take? Like, are we looking like if someone came to you and had trauma or anxiety over old wounds or maybe relationships or even a failure to launch, they feel like that they will stop themselves from succeeding because they won't step forward. About how many sessions or what would you recommend to that female, that person?
Well, I've done session work a lot, and I have done it enough to know that if you really want to, when I say get after it and move the needle, it's really I'm putting together a program, and and you don't know that. I know, and I know you didn't know that because we didn't talk about it, but it's a perfect time to talk about it. So I'm moving to like a 6 to 8 week program.
Ooh,
Um,
okay.
and so it's a hybrid. It's also highly customizable to the person. Um, and we can go in and do the past life regression, and then we can go in and do whatever. The next session will probably either be a BWRT or hypnosis to work with what was discovered.
Okay.
Um, it- and and it goes like and that's what
Okay.
I like about what I'm doing is we're understanding, and sometimes people don't leave that past life regression it feeling like, okay, well, now I'm free. I felt very freed, but
Okay.
working through the dynamics and really understanding the bigger picture, I mean, to really transform, it's 6 to 8 weeks, and really the one session and two sessions, they really just are discovery and band-aids.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what
That sounds
I've learned
great.
after. Okay. I hope that makes sense.
It does because I'm sitting here thinking, okay, how, so many people will commit so long and then they get really discouraged, but it seems like it's just a path. The 6 to 8 weeks is like going to the doctor without going to the doctor and doing treatments and really getting to know who they are. And from listening to you, it's not only just healing, but it's also helping them see their path forward, to see a hope, to see a direction, to see what's next, or maybe just their purpose or their calling. Um, has that ever came out to help someone find their spiritual gifts
Their spiritual gifts.
or like
Um,
intuition or anything? Because so many times we
yeah.
don't trust our intuition. Um,
Well, I had a lot of people come to me for that, and then end up doing past life regression. So I have to
okay.
say yes to that one.
Okay.
I have not started training, but I think I'm going to. That may be my next step forward is becoming a trained trainer, because I love doing this. And but yes, I mean I've had two women get pregnant and have babies where
Oh,
they
wow.
were feeling very infertile. Now, these were long-term clients. I worked with many, sometimes they were 6 month 6 month programs where we're really digging into a lot of
Yeah.
stuff. And this one lady, I mean, I first one I did when and she wasn't woo woo at all, but she really wanted to get pregnant. So she was willing to do anything. And the thing that finally set her free was when she saw herself in another timeline where she couldn't get pregnant,
Yeah.
and demolished and demised her relationships and even her
Mm.
self-esteem. And so and she was more historian oriented, and she even found out that the lady that she had saw herself as was her great aunt,
Oh,
who
wow.
yeah, so that one was really cool. But she's a mother, and she's had the baby, and it was perfectly healthy. And
I
yeah,
love that.
yeah.
That is so great. Awesome. So, if someone wanted to book a session with you, how would they go about doing that?
So you can go to my website, which is musiccityhealing.com,
Okay.
and you can pretty much pick anything or free, or just sign up for a free consultation just to talk it through and see if
Okay.
you're a one and done, or you're going to move into a program and really get after it, as I say.
Yeah. See, I
So
love
that
that. Um, are you going to be at the psychic fair at Cosmic Connections in a couple of weeks?
I'm not going to be there as a vendor, but I'm going to be there.
Okay.
I wish I,
Awesome.
I wish I had found out about it sooner. I would have tried to be in it, but
Yeah. I don't see how you can do your things in 15 minutes. It's so deep and is there a way to do it more
well,
quicker? Or?
not really. That's a good point. So I do have Akashic record readings on the books when I'm there doing readings,
Okay.
and they asked me to pick a 15-minute one. And so that's
Okay.
just one question. So I would,
Okay.
get the records open in front before they're there, do the reading, one question, and then close the books. So
That sounds great. Okay. So let me think. Do you have anything else you want to add? Well, I try to is there any thing that you want them to know about you? Anything that we haven't covered? Any way to, I know it's really hard for us spiritual women to promote ourselves, but anything else that you want to promote or to tell the audience about?
I, I mean, you're right. I can't think of anything that's top of mind, other than I am very excited about moving towards programs, so that
Yeah.
as a, instead of just the one session, because I know for a fact there's many people that come in and get readings and so forth, and sometimes they'll get five a year, but they don't leave with tools that, well, how do I stop? Okay, so and so's not right for me. Let's just say you've been dating Roger for 3 years and he's doing the same thing. Like, let's go in and heal that people pleasing thing you got going on, or attracting the
Yeah.
opposite, and also clean up your your sabotaging and your unworthiness, and then
Yeah.
get out there and start dating.
Mhm.
So, that
Yeah.
I do like to go deep, to your point.
I
And
love
I'm,
that.
you know,
I'm
but thank
sorry, I
you.
didn't mean to interrupt.
No, 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 you're fine. It's just I do get deep and heavy, and I think that some people may not understand that about me, just because I wanted that healing for myself. And so I think
Yeah.
how I think every practitioner is like that, though. It's like I got started this way, and this is
Yeah.
my special sauce at what I do, and everybody has their own
Mhm.
thing. So,
Yeah.
and it's nice to get to know people by going to Cosmic Connection or
Yeah.
wherever to get a feel for that person, and is at the level
Yeah.
you want to go to.
Yeah. Well, I feel the same way. I love my clients that come in once or one time just to see what a tea leaf reading is, or someone who comes in for a tarot card reading. But I absolutely love doing healing and coaching for
Yeah,
long term, so much more because you can see the process, you can see the change, you can see how things,
the
how they're,
baby.
yeah, yeah, you can see it all. And I think that that is where I would love to be able to I don't know. I just would love to have a space where we could all just be there all the time and this be our life and help all the time.
Yeah,
Kind of like the Oracle of Delphi. She lived in the temple, and that was her. Of course, I'm glamorizing that because there was a lot of not so cool
sure.
things that she had to go through. But yeah, I also agree with you. I like programs, and it is a really good investment for your
It
mental,
is.
spiritual, and emotional health. And you said your website is at musiccityhealing.com.
That's it,
Yeah,
musiccityhealing.com. Yeah.
that is
And
awesome.
yeah, so
Okay.
I just think if a person, eh, I know a lot of people do talk therapy, and I think that's amazing. There's nothing in the world, I'm not saying anything
Mhm.
bad about it, but that is typically a year or two or three obligation,
Mhm.
because they're getting that person they know they can call and just hear them out more than they're moving the needle, from what I've
Yes.
understood from people.
Yeah.
And I kind of akin to what we do that like to do more programs is it's similar to that, except it may be 6 months and not 3 years, but
Yeah.
it's an investment to
Yeah.
transform that aspect of your life that you really want to fulfill, whether it's a relationship or manifesting wealth or that career, ceiling you've hit. It could be career, it could be your purpose and your events that you want to put on, but you've got yourself sabotaging. So that's what I love too. So we're aligned like that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, if you've enjoyed this, I hope you come back, Leslie, and talk to us about galactic stuff and everything, because I'm just going to be here like a kid going, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. I've loved it. And I do want to thank you for the session that I had. It really did help with a lot of things that's I'm just, sometimes we don't realize that we just need someone just to see us. And this is your safe space to kind of, I guess, drop the mask, open up who we are, and you see us for who we are, and you love us for who we are. So audience, I absolutely recommend you go do a session with Leslie, whether it's just a short one at Cosmic Connection, or if you feel the need to invest in your mental spiritual path, any of her programs that she will be doing soon, and all of her wonderful things on her website. But I want to thank you for coming today and
Thank
everything.
you for having me. It's my honor and privilege. I love it. I love what all you're doing and what you're teaching. And I signed up to your stuff. So I love
Yeah.
learning about the priestess and the things that, what was fun about doing the reading is you've got your flavor. Like I have more like my flavor. And in reading for you, I delved into your flavor, and I had no idea what I was looking at.
I
You
love
had to
that.
tell me. You were like, "No, this is what you're looking at," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing." So, anyway,
I
thank
love
you as
it.
well. It was my
Well, I mean,
honor.
and you you confirm for me that when we work with goddesses, a lot of times it's not just the energy we're invoking, but it may be a past life where I may have been one of the Pythias in the temple, or maybe one of the warriors under one of the goddesses. But there's always that connection to things. It could be the idea of Athena and the warrior and the love and all of that. So, because
Yeah.
I've been studying that. So that energy was all around me. And that's what,
Yeah.
yeah. And that just, I mean, I know it, but it's good sometimes to have some validation about what you do, because when you're in this type of practice, when you are trying to help people, sometimes you need the validation as well as they do and everything. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Well,
Okay.
thank you. And
Thank you.
I would love to come back and talk about galactic things. That's one of my
Okay.
favorite subjects. So,
I will
and
look at,
I do not have a podcast yet, but people keep telling me I need to. So maybe we'll just trade out
yeah.
podcasts for a while too. So
Yeah. If you, I have a wonderful podcast coach that does some free
I
1 hour consultations, and I can also help you as well. I love it. And
love
speaking
that.
of that, I want to thank my sponsor, Cosmic Connections in Nashville. If you go to yourcosmicconnections.com, you'll be able to find myself and Leslie. But if you go and either share this podcast when it comes out, or give me a review on Apple, or follow me on Spotify, you'll go into a drawing for a $10 gift certificate from Cosmic Connections. But if you want 10% off right now, use the passcode Bertina Podcast 10. That's Bertena Podcast and the number 10. And you'll be able to get 10% off of anything you want to order online or in person. Okay. These do not count towards our services. This is the store sponsorship. So it's store material and everything. But I look forward to talking to you again. I look forward to hearing the audience's questions down below. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day and sweet dreams.